Here is an uncomfortable fact about the most expensive graphics card you can buy. An RTX 5090 costs around $2,000 at launch, and street prices in 2026 have pushed well past 3,000. It has 32 GB of memory, and that is not enough to load a 70 billion parameter model at standard 4-bit quantization, because that file alone itself is for over 42 GB. Meanwhile, a mini PC that costs about the same as the card, not the whole computer, just the card, ships with 128 GB of memory that the GPU can use directly. For a decade, the rule for local AI was simple. Buy the biggest GPU you can afford. That's it. That rule is now breaking, and the reason is memory, not compute, memory. So let's do the math that decides everything in local AI. A model stores its knowledge in parameters, and each parameter takes space. At full 16-bit precision, that is 2 bytes per parameter. A 70 billion parameter model is 140 GB before you even say hello to it. So quantization compresses that. At the popular 4-bit level, you need roughly half a byte per parameter. That same 70 billion parameter model becomes about 42.5 GB, better, but still bigger than any consumer graphics card ever made. And weights are not the whole bill. The model also keeps a memory of your conversation, called the KV cache, and it grows with context length. Push a 70 billion parameter model toward 128,000 tokens of context, and the cache alone can add tens of GB. So the first question in local AI is never how fast is your GPU. It is, does the model physically fit inside your GPU? So when a model does not fit in the video memory, tools like llama.cpp will split it. Some layers stay on the GPU, the rest run from your system RAM through the CPU. Here is why that actually hurts your system. The memory on RTX 4090 moves about 1000 GB per second. The PCI Express bus that connects your GPU to the rest of the system moves about 63 GB per second on the latest generation. That is a 16 times gap. Every layer that spills out of the card runs at system speed, not GPU speed. The result is a collapse, not a slowdown. Community benchmarks show the same model dropping from around 95 tokens per second fully on GPU to under 10 tokens per second on CPU. The silicon did not get worse. The road to it actually did. This is the VRAM Moat. NVIDIA sells compute, but it rations memory. The RTX 5060 shipped in 2025 with 8 GB. The same number budget cards had years earlier. Reviewers were brutal about it. The capacity ladder is how the product stack protects the expensive cards. Now, the other side of the story. A new class of computer skips the moat entirely by giving the GPU direct access to one big pool of memory. No card, no bus penalty, one pool shared by everything. Apple got there first. Apple Silicon Macs have used unified memory from day one, and the Mac Studio with the M3 Ultra chip scales to 512 GB with 819 GB per second of bandwidth. The M5 Pro and M5 Max laptops that shipped in March 2026 carry that same design up to 128 GB. AMD answered with Strix Halo, sold as the Ryzen AI Max Plus 395. It puts a serious integrated GPU next to 128 GB of unified memory. And machines like the Framework Desktop launched around $2,000. Even NVIDIA joined the club it was supposed to be defending. The DGX Spark, launched in October 2025, at $3,999 is a small desktop box with 128 GB of unified memory. And here is the fun detail. Its memory bandwidth is 273 GB per second. AMD Strix Halo is 256. NVIDIA's box and AMD's box are within 7% of each other, whatever the marketing says. So take GPT OS's 120 billion model, the larger of OpenAI's open-weight models. Its weights are about 65 GB in their native 4-bit format. There is no consumer graphics card on earth that can hold that. The RTX 4080 forced to offload, it crawls at around 12 tokens per second in the community test, which is not an ideal thing for this big of a model. The unified memory machines just purely loaded. Community benchmarks put the DGX Spark around 35 to 40 tokens per second and Strix Halo in the same neighborhood. The high-end Mac Studios in the mid-30s and up. That is a comfortable reading speed for a model no gaming PC can even open. And at the extreme end, the 512 GB Mac Studio has been shown running the full 671 billion parameter DeepSeek R1 at 4-bit, a 400 GB model at roughly 16 to 18 tokens per second while drawing under 200 watts. A frontier scale model on a desk on hardware you can order. So before you sell your graphics card, here is the other half of the truth. Unified memory is big, but it is slow compared to a flagship card. A 5090 moves almost 1800 GB per second. These unified machines move 250 to 800. Generation speed is bound by memory bandwidth. So when a model fits inside a discrete GPU, the discrete GPU wins decisively. On a small 7 billion parameter model, a 5090 has been measured around 220 tokens per second, where the Spark manages about 50. Dense models expose the weakness hardest. A dense 70 billion parameter model has to read every weight for every token. On a 273 GB per second box, that math caps you near 4 tokens per second. And the independent LMSys review of the Spark measured 2.7, which is painful. And there is a second phase to inference that nobody puts on the box: prompt processing. Reading your long document before answering is compute bound, and this is where unified machines hurt. One community benchmark measured a Mac Studio taking nearly 3 minutes to chew through a 65,000 token prompt, roughly 8 times slower than the 5090 rig. If your workflow is pasting huge documents, that gap is real. So why does these boxes make sense at all? Because the models changed. Modern open models increasingly use MOA designs, huge in total size, small in the slice that runs per token. Big, slow memory is exactly what they want. Capacity to hold everything and only a light bandwidth bill per token. There is one more force in the story, and it is ugly. Memory got expensive. The AI data center boom is eating the world's DRAM supply. TrendForce reported PC memory contract prices more than doubling quarter over quarter in early 2026, which is a record. Micron shut down its entire consumer memory business in December 2025, retiring the crucial brand after 29 years to feed data center demand. The machines in this video felt it immediately. The framework desktop with 128 GB went from $1,999 to $2,459. NVIDIA raised the DGX Spark from $3,999 to $4,699. Same product, same silicon, pricier electrons. The fix on the roadmap is LPDDR6, a new memory standard published in July 2025 with roughly double the bandwidth, but as of mid-2026, nothing you can buy ships with it. The capacity era is here. The bandwidth era is still in the mail. So what is the move? If your models fit in the video memory you already own, keep the GPU. A card that holds the whole model is still the fastest way to run it, full stop. If you want to run the big open models, the 70 billion dense class or the 100 billion plus mixture of experts models, stop shopping for graphics card. Count GBs first. A 128 GB unified machine around $2,000 to $2,500 will run things in a $3,000 card cannot load at any speed. If you paste long documents all day, remember the prompt processing gap. The discrete card or NVIDIA's unified box with its stronger compute will feel much snappier than the bandwidth numbers suggest. And whatever you buy it for a model you have actually tested. Sizes, quantization levels, and context windows change the answer completely. So, for years, the ceiling on local AI was a number NVIDIA printed on a box, and the advice was to pay whatever the number cost. That ceiling and the monopoly is cracking. Not because GPUs got worse, but because memory finally became the product. Apple proved the design, AMD made it affordable, and NVIDIA quietly built one as well. The result is choice, and choice is what breaks moats. Tell me your hardware in the comments. Subscribe for practical local AI without any marketing fog. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments.